Hello Snappers. Today I'll be reviewing some new cards, more cards that we got from the beta starting. I didn't get in, unfortunately, but hopefully I'll get in at some point. For now, I'll just talk about some cards to see if they are good or where they can be played. And let's start with this one. Adam Warlock. 2 costs, 0 power. At the end of each turn, if you are winning this location, draw a card. I don't like it. Maybe you shouldn't be winning your location. Maybe it's better to be losing by a bit and then in the last turn win it. Well, you'll be winning some of the time, so of course, but you're not having any power. You're spending one slot just for draw. If you can buff it, it might be good, but there are other cards for this cost that are better. It gives you more options, it gives you draw, it's one of the only cards in the game that allows you to draw more cards, so it might be powerful in some way that I'm not seeing yet. Just from the value that it gives and the conditions for draw, I think it's a bad card. Angel, when one of your cards is destroyed, this flies out of your deck and replace it. 1 for 2. Don't like it either. It might be a surprise against control decks that destroy your cards, but it's just a 2 power 1 cost. Don't see it making a big difference in the board state, unless you can make sure that you never draw this one. Even so, even if you can if you play cards that make sure that you draw them on certain turns, there's some of them. I don't know if there will be one for each energy point. I don't think this is a good card. Black Cat, 3 cost, 6 power. If this is in your hand at the end of your turn, discard it. This is a good one, or it might be good in a discard deck. The thing is, if you draw it on your opening hand, you'll lose it, or on the second turn. So you have like 5 draws for this to be discarded. You can get it again with some mechanics and some cards that get discarded cards back, and it's at 6 power, so it's really big. Even so, I think there are better options for discard decks than this one. Colleen Wing, 3 costs, 5 power. On reveal, discard lowest cost card from your hand. Another discard card, a discard mechanic that would be good for a discard deck. There are lots of them. I'm kind of surprised at how many discard cards there are. So Ghost Rider is a 3/4/3 that brings one of your discarded cards. You kinda need some card that is Wolverine. Wolverine is good with this. So you can play Colleen Wing on turn 3, and if you have Wolverine on your end, it will be played and you get 3 more power, and you get 5 for 3, which is good value on itself. I like this one, I like this card. If you don't draw both of them, you might discard like Cow or something, and then with the Ghost Rider you'll get it back. Yeah, or if you get Black Cat, you discard Black Cat, it would be discarded anyway. Next, Crossbones, 4 cost, 8 power. You can only play these at locations where you have more power than your opponent. So if you have more power than your opponent, why are you playing this there? The only way I can see this work is if you have cards that can move, and you play it like on one location and then move your cards to another. Even so, you could just play something else than Crossbones on the other locations with better abilities. So I think this is trash tier. Debrii, 3 cost, 3 power. On reveal, add a rock to each other location for both players. This can disrupt some things, I guess, and if you can buff your rock, or if you can destroy it in some way that gives you any benefit, it might be good. Maybe it will have some synergies with some cards. By itself, I don't think it's good. Evil Dinosaur, plus 2 power for each card in your hand, 3 costs, 0 power. This should be played on a draw deck. Might want to save as much cards as possible for this one. Like, imagine if you play this on turn 3 and you played 2 cards already, this will be a 3/6 when you play it. And if you play 1 card per turn, this will always be a 3/6. So you need to have always 3 cards on your hand. Yeah, this might be a good card. And if you can have 4 cards, you kinda need to have a late game deck build around it. But I think it can work. I think it's a good card. Dr. Octopus, 5 cost for 10 power. Dr. Ox, on reveal, pull 4 random cards from your opponent's hand to their side of this location. Ideally, you play this on an empty location to maximize your power. 4 cards is a lot, but they will lose all their hand when you play this. It's a 10 power, so they might have big guys, but you can just lose a location. Thing is, in turn 5, having an empty location, it won't happen. a lot of the times, so you won't be able to play it on an empty location. You'll have other cards there. You might lose that, so you have to be winning 2 others or be able to do that with a 1-cost card on 6th turn if you play this on last turn. Yeah, it has some disadvantages. If you could play this early, it might be good. On turn 5, I don't see it. Ebony Maw, 1 cost 6 power, you can play this after turn 3. Ongoing, you can play cards here. This is a big play on turn 1, not just on turn 1, but 1, 2, or 3. The fact you can play cards here, your opponent will have to have more than 6 in that location. So even if you lose that location, they have to spend some resources to win against you. This is an interesting card. You can remove its ability in some way. With 0, for example, you can play 0 and then play this one, I guess. Yeah, this is a good one for 0. Yeah, I like this. I like this card a lot. Electro, 3 cost, 2 power, on a reveal, +1 max energy. Ongoing, you can only play 1 card a turn. One thing I don't understand here is what is max energy. Will you get more energy next turn? And for every turn, right? So you play this on turn 3, turn 5 you have 4, 5 you have 6, and turn 6 you have 7. That's how this works. This is incredible. Evil Dinosaur is a good card to have a synergy with Electro. Because if you only play 1 card a turn, you want to play big guys, you'll want to have a big hand. And with big hand, Evil Dinosaur is also good. It's an interesting one if you have a good curved deck. Enchantress, 4 cost 4 power, on reveal, remove the abilities from all ongoing cards at this location. So this can remove the Maw ability. It's going to disrupt your opponent. I think it's a good control card. I think it will see lots of play, especially in the beginning decks. If you get this early, solid card. So this one is interesting. Galactus, 6 cost 3 power, on reveal. If this is your only card here, destroy other locations. There might be Galactus decks that can be viable. I'm not seeing it. It's a great effect, but I think it's a meme deck. Yeah, I think it sucks. You have to play it on an empty location, for you at least, and it only has 3 power, so you lose that location unless your opponent doesn't have anything there. The only way I could see this working is if you could lock out the location early in the first or second turn, then remove that lock. Yeah, it's too convoluted. I think this is a bad card. Giganto, 6 cost 14. I think this is the highest base power that we have. You can only play this at the left location. I don't like it. I think you need to be flexible and dynamic and adapt. You don't know what location it will be on the left one. It might be full by your last turn. You will always have to be waiting to play this there, and it's not guaranteed that you'll draw it. 25% of the time you won't draw it. Yeah, I don't like it. Groot, 3 energy, 3 power. The ability is not here, but it gains +3 power when you guess where your opponent plays, if you play it on a location that your opponent also plays a card. Yeah, it's like all the other Guardians cards I'm seeing, or think I can see the appeal of the Guardians cards. They can be powerful. Yeah, if he can 3 power, 6 for 3 cost, it's really good. So maybe this is the second best Guardians card. Hazmat, 2 cost 1 power. On reveal, give all other cards -1 power. So this is a tech card against swarm decks that play lots of cards. It's a tech card against Squirrel Girl because she plays, when you play her, you have 3 ones, and this will be like a 4 power card if you play against her. It's a tech card relevant if the meta allows it to be. Heimdall, 6 cost 8 power. On reveal, move your other cards 1 location to the left. This will be a staple on movement decks, I think. All the cards that have abilities, when they are moved, will benefit from him. You can get a powerful 6th turn. I haven't seen a movement deck yet. So if you have a deck like Human Torch, when this moves double its power, benefits from it. Dagger is good. Problem that I see with Heimdall, for this to work, you'll have to be playing cards on the middle and right location at the start of the game, and those locations are undiscovered until the mid location until turn 2 and the right location until turn 3, and you kind of have to gamble a lot to play there. I don't think this one is consistent. Hela, on reveal, play all cards you discarded from your hand to random locations. 6 cost 6 power. Another card to play in discard decks. And this is really powerful. This is a big one. I think it's one of the best cards that we've seen. It makes discard decks viable. Everything that you discard until they're done, you'll be played. You might have a full board on turn 6, and that's a lot of power. I love this card. Elcow, 2 cost 6 power, on reveal discard 2 cards from your hand. It's really powerful, it's 3 power per 1 cost, but discarding 2 cards, it's a bit much. If you play this on turn 2, you'll have only 1 card for turn 3. 2 cards because you draw another one. That might be a benefit, because having low amount of cards is kinda good on discard decks. Because if you can discard anything, yeah, that's a good question. Can you play this if you can discard? Like if you only have this card on your hand, can you play it? Or you need to... No, this is just on a reveal, so I think it works. You don't need to have cards on your hand. Yeah, if so, this is a great card. Really powerful. And with Hela, if you don't discard Hela, that's a big problem. Or if you don't discard Ghost Rider. I'm loving the discard cards. Iron Fist, 1 cost 2 power, on reveal, move the next card you play 1 location to the left after it reveals. This is good with Dagger, I think, that gets power by moving. And there will be others. Yeah, I'm not sold on movement decks yet. Jubilee, 4 cost 1 power, on reveal, play the top card of your deck at this location. Yeah, this works if you have really big cards. I don't know what you'll play on first 3 turns. It's kinda risky. And it's only 1 power. You have to have 2 spots left on turn 4 on a location. That you can do. I'm skeptic about this one. 5 cost 4 power, Claw ongoing plus 5 power at location to the right. 5 cost 4, 5 cost 9. Yeah, if you can buff the ongoing effect, and you can with some cards, you can have it going twice or doubling its power. It's a good card because you have power without needing to have a card there. It's like Mr. Fantastic. Mr. Fantastic is good because you have locations without having characters there. Korg, 1 cost 2 power, on reveal, shuffle a rock into your opponent's deck. I think this is good for the early game decks. It can desert your opponent, so I think it's a solid 1 cost card. Kraven, 2 cost 2 power, when you move a card here, this gets plus 1 power. Yeah, if you play this with Heimdall and you play this on the left location, there will be movement from the mid to the left, or if you play this with Nightcrawler, yeah, at most this is a 2-5 with a kind of weird condition. I think it's Toku Valuta to work. I don't like this one. Leech, 5 cost 3 power, on reveal, remove the abilities from all cards in your opponent's hand. This is a control card. This will completely disrupt the decks that have big 6 turn plays to flip the table. And it has 3 power, so it's not too bad. I would expect this to be like a 5 cost 1 power 2 power because its effect is really big. So I really like this card. I want to see it played. The thing is, on high level play, I don't know how many games we'll get to the last turn, but this might be a good card to play and snap. This will cause panic to your opponents. I want to play this one and see if it's good. For now, I think it's great. Maximus, 3 cost 7 power, on reveal, your opponent draws 2 cards. It gives your opponent too many options, I think. Maybe if you have cards that give your opponent rocks, so they are more likely to draw rocks than their cards, this might work. And 7 power is great for turn 3. So yeah, if you can fill your opponent's deck... Oh, wait a second. There are cards that discard cards for your opponent. With Cable, you'll get him to have 1 less card because you steal their bottom card. They will have 1 less card on their deck. So with Mantis, you can draw another card, so you can draw 2 of them. So he has now 10 cards on the deck. And with Yondu and you play Maximus, they'll only have 6. So this is a mill deck, right? Yeah, Yondu turn 1, Mantis turn 3, and Cable turn 2. And turn 4, yeah, you need more 5 cards out of their deck. They'll only have 7 cards on their deck. They'll have 2 less cards to play with. What happens if they don't have cards on their deck? Do they lose? I don't know what happens when they mill. I want to know. When I get access to the beta, I'm sure I'll try. Mr. Negative, 4 cost 4 power, on reveal, swap the power and cost of all cards in your deck. This is a crazy one. The thing is, you only play it on turn 4. It's kinda late. It's on your deck, not on your hand. Only the next 2 cards that you play will be discounted. Maybe if you can play this early with some kind of energy manipulation or something, or cost reduction, you can do something with this, but I'm not seeing it. I think if it was a 3 cost card, it might be viable to have a Mr. Negative deck. Being a 4 cost, you only have 2 turns to make something with it. I don't think it's consistent. Mojo, 2 cost 2 power, ongoing if both players have 4 cards at this location plus 6 power. I like this one. you'll have to have lots of low-cost cards here, but you can play these on the last turns with other cards. So if you see your opponent playing or locking his location, you just play these and one other card. This will be a 2-cost 6. That's really good. Yeah, I kind of want to try this one. I think it's an average card, almost a good one. Moon Girl, 3 cost 2 power. On a reveal, duplicate your hand. This is great for discard decks, of course. Well, I don't know if it's great. If you play this on turn 3, you might have already discarded 2 cards and played 2 other cards. You might be just duplicating 1 or 2 cards here. Yeah, that's the problem with this card, is that you run not of options in your hand. So this might be good. Yeah, I think you'll have to play this one on discard decks. Morbius, 2 cost 0 power, ongoing plus 2 power for each card you discarded from your hand this game. Another one for discard decks. It's not bad if you discard this one because it's not really too good. Well, it might be. So you can have it on your hand. If you don't have anything else to play, you can play it. It can be discarded and then it gets back from Ghost Rider or something, and it's a surprise factor. It comes back from Hela. So this is a good card to discard and then on the end of the game get back. So I think this is good. Morph, 3 cost 0 power, on a reveal becomes a copy of a random card in your opponent's hand. This is a cool card. I don't think it's consistent at all because you can't make it work with your own cards. This is just a meme one. 3 cost 0 power, Mystique, on a reveal, if the last card you played has an ongoing ability, this card gains it. I think there will be some cool combos with this one, but I think it's too costly and it doesn't have any power, but for an ongoing themed deck it might be played. Nova, when this is destroyed, give your cards plus 2 power. When costs 2 power, this gives all your cards on the board, I guess. Yeah, this with Hulkbuster that destroys this one, it's a good combo, or other cards that can benefit from eating them. So yeah, I think it's average. Patriot, ongoing, your cards with no abilities have plus 2 power, 3 costs 1 power. This is just to give some reason to play cards without abilities. I don't think this is enough to make it viable. You'll only play those cards in the beginning. You will be lucky if you get these on your first cards you get on your progress. Professor X, 5 costs, 3 power, ongoing, lock down this location. Cards can be added, removed, or destroyed. I think it's kinda good to lock down a location, but you can, it depends. If there's lots of control in the meta, this might be good. Otherwise, not really. 2 costs 3 power Quake, on a reveal, if this is at the middle location, swap the positions of each location. Being locations random, I don't think you can consistently play this. I think it doesn't work. Rhino, 3 costs 3 power, on a reveal, ruin this location, remove its ability. I like this one. Every card that controls locations is good. You can disrupt your opponent, you can remove a bad effect for your deck. Problem here is that it costs 3. If it costs 2, I think it's good. 3, I think it's a little higher, but I don't know. Having the ability to manipulate locations, I think is really powerful, so this might be played. Ronan The Accuser, 4 cost 0 power, ongoing plus 2 power for each card in your opponent's hand. This sucks. Your opponent won't have. This is just, it could be a tech card if all people in the meta were playing handlock kinds of decks. It's a 4 cost card, 4 power or 6 power. Yeah, this is a really bad card. Sabretooth, 3 cost 4 power. When this is destroyed, return it to your hand, it costs 0. This is a good card for decks that destroy their own units to get bigger, and it will be played there, and it's really good to just 4 power 4/0 if you can destroy it. Or you can play it on locations that destroy cards for some reason and you get it back. And yeah, I think it's an average one. Spider-Woman, 4 cost 4 power, on a reveal, afflict all enemy cards here with -1 power. So at most is a 4 cost 8 power because you steal 4 from your opponent if it's a full location. It can be a 4 cost 7 if they only have 3. I think this will be good if there's lots of swarm decks around in the meta. If not, this won't be played. Strong Guy, 2 cost 3 power, ongoing, if your hand is empty, plus 6 power. You can play these on discard decks as well. You'll be playing and discarding all of your hand, even if in last turn you get it back or you get back from Ghost Rider or something. Yeah, I think this is a strong card for discard decks. Swarm, another cool card for discard decks, 2 cost 3 power, and this is card from your hand, add 2 0 cost copies to your hand. It's incredible. Yeah, it's a staple for discard decks. Thanos, 6 costs 8 power. At the start of the game, shuffle the 6 Infinity Stones into your deck. There's the Mind Stone, one cost 1 power. On reveal, draw 2 stones from your deck. There's the Reality Stone. On reveal, transform this location into a new one, draw a card. That's really good. Time Stone, draw a card. Next turn you get +1 energy. That's also good. Space Stone, next turn you can move one card at this location, draw a card. That's also good. Soul Stone, draw a card. Ongoing enemy cards, you have -1 power. That's also good. Power Stone, if you've played all 6 stones, Thanos has +10 power, whatever he is. One costs 3 power, and it has an ongoing effect. I left Thanos. I want to make a deck with him. You shuffle the stones at the beginning of your deck, and they always, or almost always, draw a card. So it will cycle through your deck quickly. The only problem I'm seeing is that you can be out of board space because you play lots of stones. You might want to remove them in some way, like have some kind of thing, Hulkbuster and cards like that. The Collector, to cost 0 power. When a card enters your hand from anywhere except your deck, +2 power. This is good with Sentinel. I think it's kinda situational. I'm not a fan of this one. The Watcher, Uatu, one cost 2 power. Once this is in your hand, you can see the unrevealed locations. I think this is really powerful. If you have this on your starting hand, the problem is having it there. You'll have it on your starting hand 1/3 of the time. Maybe it's not so consistent. If you get it later, it won't do anything. You just get stuck with a 1 cost 2 power. It's got a curious effect. If it was consistent, if you have it, if you could guarantee that you have it on your starting hand, it would be cool. Like this, I don't think it's that great. Vulture, 3 cost 3 power. When this card moves, +5 power. This is incredible for movement decks. +5 power is a big deal. This will be an 8 power card, and you can move it with Juggernaut or with Heimdall or other kinds like that. So I think this is a staple for those kinds of decks. Warpath, 4 cost 5 power, ongoing if any of your locations are empty, +4 power. I think this is bad. You can't control all your locations. There are locations that have effects that you're not expecting. Your opponent might counter this. This is ongoing, this is not on reveal. If it was on reveal, it would be really good. This is a bad one. White Queen, 4 cost 6 power. On reveal, draw a copy of a 6 cost card in your opponent's hand. This will give you information. Can play around your opponent, but on high level play, I think you'll know exactly what they will play based on the first cards they'll reveal. So you won't need to draw a copy of its 6 card. And even if you draw, it won't have synergies with your deck, so I don't think you should play this one. Wolverine, 2 cost 3 power. When this is discarded or destroyed, play it in a random location. Yeah, this is for discard deck, it's great, and you should play it there. Wong, 4 cost 2 power. Ongoing, your own reveal abilities at this location happen twice. This is a good one, I think, for a Odin deck. It's a great card to have there. Yeah, play this one with Ironheart, and you get a cool combo.